a time machine, you can come talk to me. The same thing with
Wait, are you saying you're giving away time machines?
Woo! Time machines. No? I also have great swag, so definitely no time machines, but amazing bouncy balls. I'd love to talk to any of you, so come back there, okay? Thank you.
Bouncy balls are better than time machines. Cool. So our final sponsor, wait a minute. We're missing a Salesforce slide, I think. Jake, can you come up for a second? Your slide might be after this, but I think for some reason it's not here. So can you come up real quick?
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
We're so excited to be here today. Jake and I'm Amalia. We're here from Salesforce. Can I get a raise of hands? Who's heard of Salesforce? Okay, awesome. Great. We're actually from the small business team, so you may or may not know that we actually have a product for entrepreneurs and small businesses. We're really excited to be here and support women in tech. Equality is one of our pillars and core values at Salesforce. So good luck to all the speakers out there. And Jake over here is going to talk a little bit about essentials.
Yeah, and so we, in the past year and a half, we just came out with a new tool specifically for small businesses. So kind of migrating off of spreadsheets and manual processes, making your life a lot easier. You can log emails and really track your book of business for $25 per user per month. I did have a slide here with a 14-day trial, but feel free to stop by our table in the back, come chat with us. We'd love to hear from you personally and learn a little bit more about your business.
Thank you.
So the slide might show up after this. I'm just not sure. 14-day trial, what do they need to know? Could they just go somewhere to find about also if they miss you? Okay.
We have
Find
a
Jake
table
in
in
the
the
back.
back. We have pop sockets and cool goodies back there.
Okay. Cool. All right. Sorry about that.
Thanks, Brad. Hi, I'm Hans. I'm co-founder and CEO of Culture Foundry. We're a digital agency headquartered in Fremont. We've done work with 24 Hour Fitness, Organic India, done work with, it's right in my eyes, and done work with Pramila Jayapal, did her site, and also done work with, and I'm flying all over the place here. It's going all over the place. There we go. Also with the National Center for Women in Information Technology, which I'll talk about a little bit. We're a digital agency with a bias to delivery. And what that means is that we are very focused on outcomes and getting you to a place where you've got an actual functioning website or application to show. I think I'm on a little bit of a lag here, so I'll just see what happens next. Point back. Thank you, sir. There we go. And so, woo! All right, I guess I'm sort of a block for the frequency there. Our core purpose is to connect the world with beautiful technology. And, we differentiate ourselves with a focus on delivery that if you compare us with, say, a large consulting agency, for the cost of that one chart from a large consulting agency, we'll build you an entire functioning software as a service application. It's pretty good value. Our work with National Center for Women and Information Technology is something we talked about last time we were here, but I think really wanted to, particularly for this event, I wanted to talk about this fantastic resource. This is a nonprofit that runs various programs, contests, and applications. And one we built for NCWIT is the Tech Inclusion Journey. And the way this works, if you're at a large organization or even a small one, if you're a member and everyone's like, how inclusive are we as a firm? And everyone goes, oh, we're very inclusive. What if you could find out? What if you could get a reality check where folks would answer a series of structured questionnaires, compare the results, and determine and get scored on where they are on their tech inclusion journey, and then figure out what they could do next. We built this application for ncwit.org. We're going to build more applications for them going forward. And the main thing I want to leave everyone with is this URL. They run an aspirations coding contest at all levels of education. I think it might, I don't know if it starts at primary, but certainly starts in middle school, goes to high school, goes to college, ends up with national awards. It's a fantastic organization. We're not just providers, but we're members. It's really encourage you to check it out and link up with ncwit.org. Thanks very much.
All Our nonprofit of the month is Reading Partners. So tell them what you guys are up to.
Awesome. Thanks, Brett. My name is, yeah, that would be awesome. Hey, my name is Hannah, and I'm from the nonprofit Reading Partners Seattle. So many people think that learning to read is inevitable, but it's actually not. In fact, 79% of low-income fourth graders in Washington state are not reading proficiently. This is pretty shocking, and as a community, we need to change this because we know that 2/3 of students who cannot read proficiently by the end of fourth grade will end up in jail or on welfare. And they have a 78% chance of never catching up. So this is serious, and this is why Reading Partners exists. To make sure that our students who are furthest from educational justice are learning to read and are loving reading. So we partner with high poverty elementary schools. We recruit community volunteers, and those volunteers provide one-on-one literacy tutoring using a research-based curriculum that is proven to work. We know that 90% of our Reading Partners students are doubling their rate of growth by the end of the year. So you can help. You can volunteer as a weekly Reading Partners tutor. You can follow our social media, or you can donate by visiting readingpartners.org/Seattle. Thanks so much. Woohoo! This is gonna be good luck.
Yes, thank you. Okay, let's see if I can actually do this. Aha, okay. So we are in a crowd of brilliant geniuses around you. I want you guys to all be friends by the end of this, at least become LinkedIn connected. So bring out your phones, and I know that you guys are all so savvy, you already have the LinkedIn app. And so I want you to go to that LinkedIn app. You may or may not want to follow these instructions. I don't care. Usually I don't follow any instructions, right? So, but the other way to do this, to hack this realm, is to go to where your people button is at the bottom of your app. So you go to the bottom of your LinkedIn app where it has a little people. Click on that. And what it should say at the top underneath your search button is a thing that says like find nearby. And hit that button. Now, for whatever reason, my phone's actually broken. So I can't actually be there with you. But please add me because we do want to have everyone here be connected because it's all about growing your community and growing your network. So connect in, be friends with everybody, and let's all be LinkedIn connected.
So we'll do this for just a couple of minutes.
Are you finding each other?
Got you. So when you come to our events, we guarantee you're going to walk out with at least 2 really great connections. We do everything we can to help make that happen. And this is one quick way for you to pick up a bunch of connections in just a couple minutes. So we'll just do this for about 1 more minute. Yeah?
Yeah, I don't have it either.
Oh, they took it off?
Yeah, so I don't have it either. But otherwise, look at your friend's name tag and just like them and add in. So get connected and do the old-fashioned way if that way doesn't work.
You are so old school.
I am old school. I believe in personal connections.
That's why you're here.
Yes.
Face to face.
Face to face, hanging out. Yeah. Okay, so now that you guys realize that apps are broken when you update them, and it happens to the best of enterprises. No shade to LinkedIn. I actually love LinkedIn. I use it all the time. But let's meet each other face to face. Okay, so turn to your neighbor, give them a high five, and tell them your name and your most embarrassing story. Go.
Oh, jeez. Oh, yeah.
On stage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you hear them?
Oh, I listened to the podcast.
Oh my God, it's so horrible.
Yeah, they.
Oh yeah. That was.
I have one.
Okay. So, anybody have their most embarrassing story they want to share? Okay, come on. I know you guys are all shy, but there has to be one really good one.
Okay, please wind down your conversations.
Bum, 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 bum. I know, see, they just really like each other. I like this. Like, this warms my heart that, like, you just want to talk to each other. But really, we have 4 amazing speakers we want to get through ASAP.
Okay, please wind down your conversations. We will have more networking at the end. We just want to make sure that you make some good connections while we're here. Shh. I feel like the bad shush, man, but it seems to work. Shh. You're off. What's going on?
Okay, before we move on, does anyone want to volunteer to come up and tell us your most embarrassing story? Does anyone have the braveness? You with your hand up in the back, let's do this. Okay, and because I believe in fairness and I believe in vulnerability, I'm going to tell you my most embarrassing one. Because my most embarrassing one is I actually just, earlier this year, I was on a debate stage with somebody. And I had no idea that, I thought I was just with friendly people. Turns out I was with a debater who was an Oxford-trained debater. She just killed me on stage. And so then I was like, oh, that's the most embarrassing thing. Because it was like, when you're unexpected, and then this is like, you just get creamed, and you're like, wow, like totally embarrassed myself. My wife couldn't even lie to me. I get off the stage, and I was like, that was horrible. And she was like, oh, yeah, that was the worst thing I've ever seen you do. And I was like, yeah, okay, we're just going to go hide right now. And so, like, I think I hid in my bathroom when I got home just to, like, regroup for a while. Okay. So,
and the fun part of that is it was recorded and put into a podcast in Crosscut, and I happened to read about it going, oh, this would be a cool thing to listen to.
Yeah,
and
no,
so,
it's like
so if you want to hear her be ambushed, it's actually
I didn't want to put that part. I just wanted to let you know that, like, no matter what happens, sometimes you just have really horrible days. Okay, so what's your most embarrassing story? Come on. Okay, yes, braveness! Woohoo!
Okay, hi everybody. When I was in elementary school, I was in the unicycle club, and
say no more. Wow, that's
yeah, and that's all you need to hear. And I also happened to be wearing shoelaces, shoes with shoelaces on the day of our performance, with 300 parents along bleachers on one side of the room, and my shoelace interweaved in the unicycle spokes as I was riding around with everybody, and I fell, and everybody stopped, and I'm like on the ground, and they couldn't untangle my shoelace from the unicycle, and they didn't have a pair of scissors, so they had to carry me and the unicycle off of it was like a gymnasium, off the gymnasium floor, and the laughter just kept escalating as the whole thing went down.
Thank you, Emerson.
Thank you. Do you have the clicker?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so this is the community section, if you haven't figured that out, because our vibe is neighborhood block party. If you come here, we want you to feel like you came to the Saturday barbecue, and you're having a good time as well as moving things forward in your careers. So we want to help people specifically who are looking for a job. If you're looking for a job, please raise your hand so people are hiring. They can kind of look around for a minute, see if you see some faces. These folks are most likely wearing red name tags, so they're fairly easy to find. Okay, put your hand down. And if you are hiring, please raise your hand. So if you're looking for a job, look for these people. Recruiters are adventurous, so I want the recruiters to jump up and down. So those are the adventurous recruiters. If you want an adventurous job, go talk to those folks. Who has moved to Seattle in the last month? Oh, well, only two? Only two people? Okay, if you moved to Seattle in the last few months and you want to do this, we'll pick like the first 4 people, just like 20 seconds, say your name, where you come from, why you came to Seattle, and if we can help you out with anything. So who's willing? Raise your hand and use your outside voice. Wow, the numbers drop. Okay, so you go first, use your outside voice. We're really glad you didn't follow a guy and leave your husband back where you came from. Nice.
I'm looking for jobs in the software tech or IoT space, and I'm really excited to be here. I hear the winters are better than Chicago. So.
That is really a challenge, but yes, that's true. Okay, 2 more. Raise your hands real fast. Okay, you back in the corner underneath the screen. Cool. Well, welcome. Thank you for being here. One more? Okay, 2 more. So there's one in the back and then you. So you're back middle. You just dropped your hand. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. And finally,
Hi, I'm Lauren. I moved here 2 months ago. I moved for a job. Do not have a man. I am not allowed. So I work in cybersecurity for a company called Trend Micro. I moved here because of Amazon being here, and they are my alliance partner that I manage. So I am here to meet new people in tech and help people if I can, and figure out if I can also get help from them either way.
cool. So scale of 1 to 10, 10's the best. How'd you do on meeting people tonight?
I think by the first 10 minutes, I already went into about 4 people. So 2 people that were ready to connect.
So I'm going to pretend you just said 10. Okay, does that work? Okay. That's okay. I don't listen to myself either. It's good. Okay, so finally, if you want to connect with people outside of here in the community, first off, we like to promote all the great events happening. There are too many to mention, but if you go to our community events page, it's a great place to see things that are happening. If you happen to be with anyone putting on an event, it's free to list your events there, so it's great to pick up more free promotion that way. This is my favorite page on the website. It's just a bunch of resources, but no matter what you're looking for, this should help you. So co-working spaces, angel investors, mentors, event places to hold an event. We try to help wherever we can. If you ever look at these pages and think of or know of resources we're missing, then please email us and we will add them. And the website has lots of different resources. You can post your resume, post job openings, see all of our events that are coming up, and lots more. So check that out for more, and you can connect with our community on all the usual places online, generally New Tech NW, but not always. And this stuff's also on the bottom of the website, so you can go there to also connect with people and ask for help with what you're working on, or share your expertise and advice to help them out, and generally be good neighbors, because that's what it's all about. It's all you, Elizabeth. It's all you.
Awesome. Okay.
You know about the timing.
No, I don't know anything about the timing thing.
Okay, it's almost all you.
Okay.
Yeah. So the presentations are 5 minutes each with 3 minutes Q&A. And when they get to 4 minutes, our timekeeper this evening is Virginia. Thank you for being our volunteer. So when they get to 1 minute, Virginia's going to raise her special finger. Everybody raise your special finger. We have a clean crowd tonight. Nice. Okay, so raise your special finger. That lets them know we have 1 minute left, and they can either wrap it up or go a little bit into their question time. We might go a little bit over tonight because these women have some really awesome things to share. And without further ado, I'll hand it to Elizabeth.
Okay, so our four presenters, I would say come closer to the stage. I know we have some of them that are hanging out in the back. And so, without further ado, Marriott will be first. Bum, bum, bum.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, so real quick with this, you have to turn behind you.
All right.
And then in front of you.
And it's this button. Great. How's everyone doing? Awesome. Great to be supporting new tech women in technology. I love this event, and I'm happy to have me here. My name is Marriott Winquist, and
Not you.
me. I'm like, whoa. My name is Marriott Winquist, and my passion is helping leaders become even better leaders. I do this through consulting and executive coaching. Today, I'm talking about leading now, leading better, and in any role that you're currently in.
Marriott, can you give me your background really quick? Because I think that would be helpful so they know your experience level.
Sure. My background is in both technology and business management. I have over 20 years leading both technology teams and business teams in the Seattle area. My last, most recent role was VP at the Bluetooth Special Interest Group, and I ran our qualification and spec development programs there. All right, so first I'd like to start with these thoughts. I don't know enough. I'm not the manager here. I'm kind of new here. Do any of these sound familiar to you? Raise hand. I know they sure do sound familiar to me. This is our inner critic. These are the thoughts that keep us back from doing more and leading more. And I think especially for women, somehow these thoughts are really loud, aren't they? They sometimes are things that we can't ignore. Well, I'd like to share 3 things with you tonight. 3 things that I've learned where we can get past our inner critic and start thinking like a leader, acting like a leader, and speaking like one as well. The first thing, trigger happy. The first thing I like to talk about is finding your North Star. This is about purpose, this is about direction, and this is about the why. And for the context of your job, this usually means understanding, why is my company doing what it's doing? And don't think about it's just money. There's lots of different ways to make money. Why is my company doing what it's doing? Let's start with an example. Say you're a developer in a children's game company, and you're developing a new game to help kids problem solve and learn problem solving. Great, that's a good goal. You probably have some thoughts about what to make that experience to be. And now you find a new little insight. Now you understand what their why is, which is to put smiles on kids' faces. Think about that game again. Does that add an additional layer of perspective on how you might approach designing that game? Having the North Star in mind actually will directly impact how you will come up with solutions in your own realm of work. It's not a far-fetched goal. It's the North Star and it's the direction that you can always ground your own work in. So now you have that North Star. And I think quickly you'll find, I know my stuff, but I think there's lots of different areas that I don't know that I still need help in. How can I do it all? Well, the good news is you don't have to. The best leaders rally the right people around you in order to advance your cause. So learn about the landscape of your organization. Learn about how to get things done and who does what. This will give you the broad perspective so that you can actually include the right people, have the right discussions, and actually drive towards that North Star. 1 minute. All right. And so now you have the North Star, and now you know who to include. Well, you know what? None of that means anything if you don't speak up. And yes, it's going to be scary. It's going to be like jumping off into the waters here. You're not quite sure what the reception is. The waters might be cold. But let me assure you, if you are approaching this with the perspective of moving towards the North Star, if you're approaching this knowing how it impacts your organization, you are already acting and thinking as a leader. And all you need to do is to speak up. Speak up on behalf of the organization, speak up on behalf of the North Star, and speak up on behalf of your own thinking about it. Take that leap. And I can assure you, just like this photo, even though it looks scary, once you make that leap, you'll find that the waters are actually pretty warm after all. And also there are people on the other side and they're rooting for you. So I'll take a few moments to end up. This is a journey. This won't come magically in a day. It's a journey where you will keep doing and keep refining and keep making this yours. And whether you're taking the first step or whether you're well onto the path of your leadership roles, I'd invite you to actually think through some of these questions that we talked through. Learn about your organization. Learn about how you can move forward. And most important, please speak up. Thank you.
Awesome.
Any questions?
What is your North Star, Harriet?
Good question. So my North Star, my company now is Brightree Consulting. I believe in continuous growth. I believe in leaders continuing to learn and shining in any role that they are in. So that is my North Star. I try to help leaders, especially women in technology, to actually get to that next level and expand their leadership impact. Thank you. Any other questions? Yes.
What advice can you give to others who are trying to find their North Star and how do they get there?
Good question. I think
Will
what you can...
repeat the question for the people who
Oh,
can't hear?
sure. The question is, what advice would I give to those who are starting to find their North Star and how do we get there? I think the first question would just be think internally first in terms of why you are doing certain things. And the other would be if it's about your company, go talk to people around your company, talk to your manager, figure out what the mission is, what the vision is, why are they doing what they're doing. I think that would give you a good basis. Yeah.
One more question?
One more question? Anyone else? Oh, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Having business coaches is so essential. It's like all of our athletes get them, but why don't we, like in the professional world, always have one? I never understand that. Cool. Okay. Whoa, that was...
Well, you just gave the whole presentation.
I know. So pretend you never saw that. There we go. Okay, Amy, I apologize due to this. I know. I am so sorry.
You've seen that I have aged a bit.
Yes. No, you haven't.
You're amazing. How's everybody doing? Good. Okie dokie. Is this thing on? No. Wait.
Switch it out.
There we go.
Okay. Whoa! Now that's completely different now, isn't it? So my name is Amy Balliet. I'm the CEO and founder of Killer Visual Strategies here in Seattle. For those of you who haven't heard that name before, we just changed it. We used to be Killer Infographics. So you might have heard of us, you might have not. If you haven't, it's perfectly fine. I forgive you. So I wanted to not talk about Killer, actually. Today, I'm going to talk about my entrepreneurial journey as a female founder. And to do that, I am going to actually start 20 years ago. There we go. You see, I haven't aged a bit. That is 17-year-old Amy Balliet right there. For those of you who didn't know me in high school, it's okay. I grew up in Ohio, so you probably wouldn't have known me anyway. But at 17 years old, I had a weird conversation with my dad around the dinner table. He was looking for a new person to run a candy store and ice cream parlor in the center of a summer vacation resort that he was on the board of. I joked and said I would do it, thinking he's not going to say yes to a 17-year-old. Lo and behold, he woke up the next day. Well, no, he woke me up the next day. I still sleep into 11 a.m. if I'm allowed to. But he woke me up the next day, took me to KeyBank, and had me open a $2,500 business loan, which somehow bought me the rights to, if it's going to switch, there we go, to that place right there. So for the summer of my junior year and my senior year of high school, I started working 80 hours a week running this candy store. It was a penny candy store, so it was pretty hard to actually turn a profit. In fact, on a good day, I'd bring home about $300, about 50% profit margins, so not too bad for a high school student. Over the course of the summer, I earned enough money to pay for my second car. My first car was a beater that died after a few weeks, so I pretend that it didn't exist. I paid for my second car at that point, and then this next summer, I actually made enough money to pay for my first 2 years of college. After which, I sold it, saying, I'm never going to run a business again in my life, because I gave up 80 hours a week of my summer to run this business. Fast forward to moving to Seattle after graduating with a career in film and a degree in film and marketing. A career, right? You guys don't know that, but I'm actually behind all the blockbusters. Fast forward to moving to Seattle, and I pivoted from working in film to working in marketing. And then I decided to try and start another company. And this thing's not moving the way I want it to, so I'm just going to keep hitting buttons. Oh, I got to point at this. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so fast forward to 2008. In 2008, Proposition 8 passed in California. Proposition 8 affected me very closely because I was one of the 18,000 couples that got married in the state of California. And unfortunately, that marriage was now in limbo. So out of nowhere, I started something called Join the Impact. Join the Impact was meant to be just a simple call to action to get people to come out and basically all around the country protest against Proposition 8. Within a week, we had 1 million protesters all out against Proposition 8, and all of a sudden, I'm the founder of a nonprofit. Fast forward 9 months later, and I decided this isn't really the right fit for me because a nonprofit wasn't what I wanted to be doing. So then comes in Zippy Cart. Zippy Cart was just a fail. It did make a big $4,000 a month, not a week. That would have been awesome. $4,000 a month. That doesn't really cover 2 Seattle mortgages, which myself and my co-founder each had to pay. So after a few months of Zippy Cart, I jump into the world of infographics. And that's where this fast-forwarded fast Killer Infographics began. Killer Infographics was a pivot. When you think about beginning a career as an entrepreneur, it's not an overnight success. Instead, if you think about that story, it took 15 years just to get to something that was even close to successful. Over the next 9 years or so, I started to build Killer Infographics from the ground up. I hired a great team that really supported me. This was actually from our rap video. Google it. It's worth it. And over the years, that team continued to grow. But I faced a number of challenges as I built this company. At the end of December, I actually sold Killer to my new parent company, Kelton Global. So a 20-year stretch of entrepreneurship went from starting one company, trying to start another, failing both times, then pivoting to the right company. We often think that overnight successes are the rule of entrepreneurship, but in reality, it took me 20 years to get to the point where I am today. When you think about starting a business, especially as a woman in business, oftentimes you're you're pitting yourself up against the men that are out there. And I gotta tell you, to be honest, nobody is an overnight success. More often than not, you'll hear people act like they are and talk like they are, but it takes a lot of willpower. It takes getting up after every mistake and rolling with every single punch. And as a woman, it takes walking into that room with more confidence than anybody expects you to have, because we are taught to be apologetic at all times. So when you think about your journey in business, remember that the more you get up after every single failure and you learn from it and you move forward, the more likely you are to end up with a team like this and a group that is going to help you drive success for the next 20 years of your life on top of that. So that's my story. I could go on forever, but apparently 5 minutes goes fast, really fast here. So if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to help answer them. Woo-hoo. Okay. Any questions? Yes.
Why infographics?
Honestly, I went to film school, so I majored in film and minored in marketing, and visual storytelling is the perfect culmination of both of those things. The fact is, I believe that visual communication is going to change the way all of us connect. It already has. We all speak visually every single day. We connect through visual content on a regular basis. When done properly, it gets to the brain 60,000 times faster than any other form of communication that exists. And 91% of today's audiences prefer visual content over any other form of communication. I can tell you about 5,000 more stats like that. In visual display, exactly.
Okay, maybe one more question. Yep, you in the back.
He said, I like building graphs. Do you need someone? We are looking for a marketing intern right now, but that's all we're looking for. At the moment, I have 30 employees. We're about to move to South Lake Union, actually, as our new office, to grow to 50 employees. So look for us in 2020, because that's when we're going to be hiring like crazy. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Let me try this one more time without ruining the presentation. Can I just do it old school? Yes. Okay. Okay. Sydney is our next presenter, so I'll have her come up. So that one, and then just point it actually at the laptop to switch your slides.
Okay, we'll do that. Hey, it's great to be here. My name's Sydney Tetro. I run a software company called ForgeDX. I also co-founded a nonprofit called the Women Tech Council. I've spent my entire career in technology, from my undergrad in computer science through building companies and raising venture capital. And I had an opportunity to spend about 5 years at Disney doing technology commercialization and Imagineering. So with that, I wanted to talk a little bit today around what it means to be fearless. It has been said that people who are fearless act, behave, and think differently. When I was talking to my 14-year-old son, I said, what do you think, what's the definition of someone who is fearless? And he said to me, they are people who get stuff done. So I want you to think about that, because oftentimes we think about people who are fearless, and I think about other entrepreneurs that I know, and I think maybe I'm not exactly like them. Maybe I'm not as fearless as they are when it comes to starting a business or jumping into a new opportunity. But I have really learned that it is all about being in action. I want to give you 4 ideas to think about what it means for us individually to be fearless. So my first one is this idea around don't shut your own doors. So I want you to think for a moment about the most recent opportunity that you've had, or something that came your way where you decided all of the reasons that it would not work. No one's ever had this experience before, right? We never said no before we actually got the question along the way. I think one of the challenges that we have is to be the person who does not shut our own doors, that we take advantage of every opportunity that comes by, because the doors will shut by themselves. Someone won't give you the money, someone won't give you the opportunity, but when we shut the doors before we're even at them, then we don't even get the opportunities to go and move forward. Quick story. When I was going to work for Disney, I was just coming off of a company, and my friend was heading up Imagineering, or Disney Research and Imagineering, and he said to me, hey, Sid, We're starting an entrepreneur in residence program. Would you like to come down? And I said, okay, I'll come down. So I go down. I talked to him over a weekend. He calls me the next week and he said, okay, Sid, we would love for you to come do this, but let me tell you a few things. I have no idea what this job looks like. I can't tell you exactly where you'll be in 6 months, how long it will last, or where it will end up. But would you like to take it? And I said, yep, sign me up. I will take that. And it led to so many other opportunities that I could never have imagined by just jumping into that. Don't shut your own doors. Take advantage of what comes your way. Secondly, I want you to think about how you make things happen. So I started a 3D printing company. We could make you superheroes. I had licenses for all those characters you saw at the beginning, from the NFL to Major League Baseball to Marvel to Star Wars, and we could take 3D scans of your face. When we decided to start this company, we sold the idea and got licenses to IP before we had written the technology. Now, I decided we should launch with Marvel and Major League Baseball. And we showed up at Comic-Con with a partner. And at Comic-Con, I had some really big partners like Walmart come to me and say, hey, Sid, in 60 days for Superhero September, could you launch inside of our stores? Okay, we just launched. We had like 2 pieces of infrastructure. I said, okay, I think we can do that. Let me figure out how to make that happen. I decided that in order to do that, I needed Hasbro as a partner in order to make a toy product and not just a 3D printing product. So we picked up the phone and we called them and we said, hey, Walmart wants us to launch in 60 days. Will you work with us to make that happen? And we made it happen. And so I think that you have the opportunity, if you are willing to be in action and do things, to make things happen. Now, my next suggestion for you is to take on the impossible. So when I was building that 3D printing company, there was one point in time where we had a massive launch coming up. We had taken 6 months in preparation, and I had a major partner who I needed to help me deliver some hardware to go into this installation, one of the largest retailers in the country. On a Friday night, 2 weeks before launch at 5 o'clock, my partner called me and said, I'm sorry, we cannot hit your deadline. We're backing out. Like, well, this is really rough. It's 5 o'clock on a Friday. I have 2 weeks. I just signed the contract. I show up on Monday, and I said to my team, I don't know if we can make anything happen, but will you have the mindset of doing whatever you need to help us solve this problem? Took a whiteboard. We wrote down all of the possible ideas that we could possibly attack, and the team went after them. In the end, we ended up missing the install date by 2 days. It took 150 family members and a lot of people over the weekend, but we made it happen. And I believe it's in the mindset of making things happen and getting work done. My fourth item for you is this idea of always being willing to ask. It's the very hardest thing to do. The worst thing someone's going to tell you is no. So my current company, which is a product experience platform, we work with really large companies in the whole visual IQ that she was just talking about to tell product stories. And I had to deal with a very large company, Fortune 20, but it wasn't really working out for me. And I decided that I need the metrics and the monetization to be different. So I built a model, and I went to the president of that company, and I said, look, this is what I needed to be like. Now, I was worried about it. I didn't know how he would react, but I just went for the ask. There was another time in my life when I didn't go for the ask. When I sat in front of a guy who was a strategic partner, and he asked me, Sid, do you want a joint venture? Do you want me to invest in your company, or do you want me to buy you? And my answer back to him was, well, what do you want to do? And that was the wrong answer. I should have gone for what I asked, and it would have changed the outcome of those meetings. You just have to be willing to ask. You have to understand the alternatives, and you have to be willing to accept that sometimes there'll be no, but if you didn't ask, you will never know along the way. I think that's one of the most important things when it comes to being fearless, is that you should learn the art of the ask and being willing to go for what you want. My last thought for you is that as you think about where you're headed, that your choices will reflect your hopes and not your fears, so that you can live fearlessly. Thank you. Woo-hoo! Okay, I think we get a little bit of time for a few questions, if there are any.
What's the why of your company?
What's the why of our company? My company today allows me to bridge the storytelling experience that I got from my Disney work with technology. Because we built a platform that lets companies tell their most powerful product stories in a visual way that people understand and that accelerates sales. My largest customer, it helped them do $100 million of additional revenue last year. So I completely validate those numbers that she was saying before me on the visualization. I completely agree. It's a great question. Any other questions? Okay, we'll have to plant more questions for everyone. Yeah, right back there. Okay. Do you know what? All technology companies are looking for people. And I would say come talk to me or anyone else on my team that's here. And we are always looking for talent. Everyone's looking for talent. I come out of Salt Lake City. We have 4,000 open technology jobs, which I suspect your stat is similar here. Yes, you're welcome. Thank you guys for the opportunity to come here and to interact with your community.
Woo-hoo! Thank you so much for your long journey through here. Okay, and then last but of course not least is Aaron from eBay.
Woo! Clap. Give her some love.
See if I can figure this out. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Erin Stoner. I'm the channel strategist for the eBay Partner Network, which is eBay's in-house affiliate program. I work closely with our product and engineering teams and have been the stand-in product owner since May of this year. I'm also the co-chair of eBay Seattle's Women at eBay program, which is a community of women, their allies, and sponsors. A couple quick facts about me. I was born and raised in Hong Kong. I moved to California for university, and I moved up to Seattle in 2012 with eBay. When I joined the Seattle office in 2012, there was no Women at eBay chapter. It took about 3.5 years ago, 3 passionate women decided to start our local chapter, and today it is now a well-established program of over 100 members and is actually a role model for our over 15 other global eBay sites. It's an integral part of our office culture, and we're looked to now to provide engaging workshops, mentorship programs, volunteer opportunities, and fundraising events. I became a co-chair for Women at eBay at the end of 2016, and earlier this year, 2 of our 3 co-chairs left. So it left an opportunity for us to build a more diverse and representative team. 2 of my co-chairs you can see up here, Kelly on the left and Andy on the right. So there are now 2 women and a man co-chairing this organization. Our community is now 25% men, and I'm proud to say that whereas men used to come to our Women at eBay events and look like a deer in the headlights, they now actually make up a significant portion of our events. And I'm hoping that now having a male co-chair will actually make them feel more comfortable and help us further the conversation. A subtle but important change to our organization's name was made earlier this year. It was eBay Women in Technology, and it changed to Women at eBay. That immediately made it more inclusive for both tech and non-tech employees. As a co-chair, I sometimes even felt out of place being on the business side, so it immediately even made me feel at ease. It now brings all of our women's groups under one unified umbrella organization, and it will help us align our global programs and connect our Women at eBay leaders across the world. All with the same goal of making eBay a more gender-inclusive place to work, grow, buy, and sell. We're also able to elevate the D&I conversation and gender conversations, helping accelerate the work of wider eBay. There's a couple stats on this screen. I won't go through them, but this is from eBay's 2018 D&I report. As you can see, we're making progress, but there's always more work to be done and more opportunity to improve. One of our chapters, V2 Moms, has 3 main values. The first of which is to support women and their allies who are already here with career growth and learning opportunities. We do this by leveraging internal employee talent as well as external organizations for workshops and trainings available to the entire office. You can see in the top right is an employee-led workshop about data science and machine learning. And on the bottom is one of our training partners, Ovian, after finishing a class on hacking your confidence skills. Other examples of workshops we put on include listening and communication classes, negotiation workshops, leadership courses, improv classes, and even a self-defense class. Oh, no. Oh, almost. Come on. Can I press the button? Okay. Our other 2 main values are to evolve corporate culture to remove barriers to entry and success for women, and fixing the pipeline to grow future generations of women who are interested in entering the technology field. We do that not just through the internal review of recruiting strategies, but also things like ensuring there's always at least one woman on every interview panel. We also do this through community engagement and outreach, as well as fundraising and partnerships. On the left, you can see we brought TechBridge into the office one of several times where we taught them a coding class, paired them with role models, and gave them a tour of the office. We've also taught middle and high school youth or girls coding through Expanding Your Horizons at Bellevue College. And on the top left, you can see us at a fundraiser luncheon, the annual luncheon for Washington Women in Need. We try to partner with organizations in many ways. So this is one of our annual International Women's Day celebration. And actually, our guest speakers this year was from Washington Women in Need. We had one representative and one education grant recipient talk to us and help fundraise for them. And you can see actually there's a lot of both men and women at this event, which is great. And we make sure that although we do celebrate women's achievements every day of the year, especially on International Women's Day, individuals make pledges on how they will further the conversation and progress to achieve gender equality. Last but not least, I'll skim through this real quick, but some of the lessons we've learned and asked. So first lesson is people need to eat. So we've found that we've got much better attendance at our events if we provide lunch. It's true. Listen to your community, gather feedback often and act on it, and be as transparent as possible. And it takes time to build a community. It doesn't require a budget. It does require a few passionate people with the time to volunteer. Budget is nice to have, but it's not a requirement to starting the conversation. And as much as you can, get leadership support. And that's it.
Woohoo! Questions?
Oh, that's one.
Why do you do what you do?
I actually I became a co-chair for Women at eBay through actually attending all of the events and workshops that were being put on originally. And I found that, or I didn't find, I knew it was one of my passions to further basically equality and career growth for women, especially being one, and honestly feeling imposter syndrome and all of the other things that women tend to feel. And so I thought, if I can get involved and be a lead, it'll help my confidence, and I can also share that with others.
What advice would you give to a company that wants to start up a similar support network?
I would say do it. I mean, I know that's a simple thing to say, but I feel like people hesitate. They sometimes think if they don't have the budget or a big enough community that they should just let someone else do it. But it only takes a few people. Like I said, when I joined eBay Seattle, there was nothing. And it took 3 women getting together, starting to meet once a week, just brainstorming and getting buy-in from other folks and understanding what people want. And again, leadership support was a huge deal.
Awesome.
Okay,
thank you so
everyone.
much. That was amazing. Can we get like another round of applause for our speakers?
So hopefully you learned some things from them that are actionable. That's what we hope to have happen here. Through the presentations, as you learn what's working for other people, that you can go and take into your workplaces and your life to make things better. If you had a good time tonight, did you have a good time tonight? Wow, you guys sound almost as energized as before we started. That's pretty good. I know it's getting a little bit late. So if you like what we're about, what we're doing, if you'd like to connect more with our community through advertising, sponsoring, or presenting, please let me know. Our regular events are just like this, except the presentations, instead of being on these specific issues, are people sharing tech the company's created and passion for what they do. Not pitching. We're not about competition. We're about collaboration, but it's about celebrating the cool things that are happening and helping each other create more of that. So if that works well for you and aligns with you, you can reach out to me or go to the website and we can tell you more. If you are looking for a job, we do 4 job fairs a year. Our final job fair of 2019 is coming up on September 26th. There's usually about 20 to 30 employers there, along with startups. Amazon and Nintendo will be there. So there are enterprise companies as well as startups. If you go to newtechjobfair.com, you can learn more about that. And our next event here is going to be on on October, I think it's actually October 1st, but it might be the 2nd. I think it's October 1st. But normally with the second Tuesday of the month, October, November, December, we move it up a little bit with holidays and other things that are going on, so that we're not conflicting with what other things that people want to do. Our East Side events are generally on the third Tuesday of each month. Our next one will be next week, and it will be another Women in Tech event. We do those generally in February and in September. And if you want to spend more time with the people in this room and you want to drink more alcohol or not and just hang out with them, if you walk out this door to the left and walk down the street, you're going to run into Art Marble, and you can go there, continue networking and having a great time. I just want to thank you guys for coming. Do you want to say anything before I wrap it up? Elizabeth,
I just want to say
please thank Elizabeth for co-hosting and being a part of this with us.
it is my absolute pleasure to always hang out with the tech community. I love you guys so much. I do believe in tech can save and will save humanity, right? These are awesome tools to connect us and just, one day become us, right? So, anyway, so I just love to be around you guys. And also, Brett, just thank you so much for everything that you do day in and day out. Not always we get supported for this. So let's just do a big round of applause for Brett and all this community activism.
Thank you, guys. I just want to thank you guys for being here. This doesn't happen without you guys. The reason we're still here after 7 years and we still have 200 or 300 people coming to events every month is because you guys come, you share yourselves, you help each other out, you create an environment where we can be human together, where we can create relationships that matter in a world full of transactional stuff and people feeling more isolated and alone all the time. So thank you, because this only works because you come here and you're part of what we're building. So I really appreciate you. Thank you for coming out, and we hope to see you really soon. Thank you.
Thank you.